bow in my non-dominant hand, stood sideways on. You want the children holding the bow like they're going to shoot it. Okay, again, there's nothing necessarily wrong with them loading the bow any other way, but if you let them load it any other way than facing forward with their hand, with your arrow, obviously you're going to start with the arrow in your strong hand. It needs to go up and over onto the other side of the bow. Again, with sticky archery, it's not hugely crucial, but this is important that we do it. So from here, arrow starts in our strong hand, goes up and over the bow onto the other side. All right, on sticky archery, you've just got these ridges. On a real archery bow, the big black ones, if anyone's seen them, there's like a little arrow rest. To make it easier for the children to remember, you can say up and over the mountain, rest on the rock. There's a higher chance they'll remember that quicker than you just saying it to them with normal words. From there, when we come in, annoyingly on the sticky arrows, the flights on the end are all the same colour. On a real arrow, one of them is a different colour. Is that on the black bow? So a bit more like this, okay? So you would have one flight that is a different colour. That different coloured flight needs to point towards you. So if I loaded it with this one, up and over, the opposite colour flight is going to point towards me when I load it. And that's really important, especially with real archery, because if it's that way, it's going to hit the string and affect the shot. With these arrows, it still works, okay? So you still should have a flat edge and one flight pointing towards you. That way, do we all see that it's not going to work as well, okay? But for most of the younger children, they're not going to pick up on that. And then you're going to clip it in between the two red sections. Again, on a real bow, you don't have these two red bits, you just have two metal knocking points, and then the arrow goes between those knocking points. But this makes it really easy for the children. These do move up and down over time, so you may need to adjust them and make sure the arrow is straight. If you see a bow that is like that, can we all agree that doesn't work? Do we agree? Okay, you need to move them back so it is all in line, okay? From there, how many fingers are we going to teach children to use? Okay, 3 fingers. Sometimes, obviously, when you become an adult, you play 2. As well, as an adult, quite often you'll see people put 1 finger above, 2 fingers below. I find it easier to get the children to start with just using all 3 fingers below. Okay, if we get the children all doing the same thing, then you're going to get higher success. Lots of children will grab the bow like so, okay, and they'll grip it like a tennis racket. You have to show them effectively the last line on your fingers. Using your fingertips is how you pull the string back. Okay, to start with, no points, no nothing, you can just get warmed up. Off you go, up you come, have 1 arrow and then go back. Remember, we are not collecting the arrows until I say. Right, so when we're collecting, I want you to do it in a similar way in which we were doing real archery. Obviously, it's a lot easier, okay? But normally you would just select a person from each line. You need to tell them how many arrows to collect and ensure that they are counting, okay? How many arrows did you start with? Anyone know? 6. So if you're at the front of the line, can you go and collect 6 arrows of the same colour? When we're doing real archery, listen up guys, really important on the arrow collection, the kids aren't running around, okay, so everyone has to be walking. It's a great thing to do now as well, and to be pointing the arrows down and not running around, throwing them up in the air. We're obviously shooting really, really close, so you've all got plenty of power, so power's not an issue. But with the children, who collected? Another example of strong maths in the group, great. What common things do you think you'll see from the children that may result in a lack of power? Okay, so not pulling it back far enough. So I wouldn't say that's about power. Okay, good, so there's a few things. So 1, I tell you guys to stand sideways, you're going to stand sideways. The children won't. Okay, tons of them will do a little like diagonal stance. The issue is, and you can demonstrate this to the children, doesn't matter how far they pull back, they're going to limit themselves. Because now they're here, or very awkwardly, here, but they only can pull back as far as their chest if they're not stood sideways on. Okay, if they're sideways on, they can obviously pull back much easier and much further. Where are we looking to pull back to? Okay, yeah, the corner of your mouth, effectively. Okay, so you want to pull back to the corner of your mouth. As adults with these bows, it may come off, but with the children, these are obviously much smaller. Another thing you'll commonly see with the children is they won't lift their elbow up. Okay, so they'll keep their elbow down, and even when you then say the face, they'll pull it back like this. Okay, you then need to teach them and focus on getting their elbow up. Where do you think your elbow should be in line with? Yeah, it should be a straight line from the arrow to your hand all the way through to the elbow. Okay, and keep them in this position. A final thing you may want to talk about, obviously we touched on their grip, but also how they're releasing. Quite commonly in a lot of sports, you follow through with the action. Tennis, hockey, when you throw a ball, your hands follow the action. With archery, obviously we pull back here and your fingers just release. Lots of kids will bring their hand forward as they let go, and then they lose all their power. Does that make sense? We'll smash through a couple of games then. The same games you can play here as you can play with real archery. We're just going to play the pizza game. So as a team, as a target team, you've got to try and build a better pizza than the other team. White is dough, black is passata, blue is cheese, red is a normal pizza topping, gold is any food you want. Okay, so obviously you're playing with children. They will love the idea of putting sweets on top of their pizza. Okay, that you can pick anything you want. There's a second choice for gold. If you haven't hit something else on your pizza, so you've not hit white, for example, you have no pizza, but you've hit gold, you can use that gold for the piece of the pizza you're missing. Does that make sense? Let's play a game. Let's see who builds the best pizza. White, black, blue, didn't hit red, didn't hit gold, so at the moment they have a margarita pizza. Zach, what do you pick? Meatballs. Meatball pizza. This team, what did you hit? Everything apart from yellow. Yeah. Who hit the red? Yes. What are you picking as your topping? Got to be better than meatballs to win. What? Pardon? Pepperoni. Yeah, meatballs better. When you're playing it, obviously let the children pick. So if they get whatever topping they get, let the children pick. It's like a reward for doing well. Don't let someone else pick. They want to choose it. We're now going to play Dream Garage. Okay, when you play a game, obviously to us as adults, we are aware that you are still just hitting coloured circles on a board. If you paint the picture, tell a story with the children, they'll get into it. Sometimes be careful they don't get too into it and say, I've done supermarket sweep before. Each colour meant something. And I told them, right, imagine when your mum and dad pick you up now, they're going to take you straight to the supermarket and whatever you hit is what you get from the supermarket. Gold was a PlayStation or an Xbox, and that child wasn't very happy when he told mum on pickup, you need to buy me an Xbox, and she said no. Okay, but in a way, that's a poor example, but in a way you want them believing the game they're playing as much as possible. So if we're playing Dream Garage, normally what I would do is say this is going to be your transport to school for the whole of the year. Okay, so whatever you hit now is going to be your transport to and from school every single day. Obviously, any game you play, the end product needs to be better as you get closer to gold for obvious reasons. Okay? If you miss, what do you reckon a transport to school might be? Okay? If you say walk to the children, there'll be one child that says, oh, I love walking to school. Okay? So, and they will. So if they miss, I normally do that they have to carry every person in their class bag to school. So it's actually a punishment for missing. Does that make sense? To stop that one child going, oh, I'm buzzing, I missed. And do it on purpose. All right? White, okay, we can pick it as we go. White, any ideas for white? A tractor. That's wicked. Right, so white, okay, white you might do bicycle. Black, you may do standard family car. Blue, you may do 4x4 of your choice. Red, you may do supercar of your choice. Gold can be anything of your choice. Normally the children will pick a private jet, a helicopter. If you want to get really into it, obviously they get to pick their car and their mode of transport. I think you did this, I didn't do it to start with. I've copied somebody else on this one. If you get a private jet, you're allowed to also design your private jet and say what's going to be inside it. Was that you? I thought it was a bit strange. I played it once and the kids go ballistic and they say the weirdest things ever. I had one kid that wanted to have a burger restaurant in his private jet. Okay, but like I say, make it as fun as you can, all right? So you have a puzzle on the other side, your choice whether you make them do it in order, etc, etc. With Sticky Archery, you have the ability to be more creative than you can be with real archery because there's no danger. Okay, so we'll just go through this once, but if you're doing it, obviously you can just be more creative, okay? That's what I'm trying to get at, okay? Lots of different ways you can do it. With the puzzle, you can hit any piece you want. We're just gonna do points. So whatever you hit, you add to your total score. If you hit the ball, you get 20 points. When we pull the arrow back, what are we looking at when we're aiming? Just looking at the board. But what am I looking at? When I'm shooting the arrow, what am I looking at? The tip of the arrow, okay? Literally all the answers is literally what the kids would do as well, okay? They will look at the target, okay? They'll just look at the target, and sometimes, I don't know, say I'm shooting this target. Okay, they're just staring at the target and then pulling back. But you can clearly see that I'm nowhere near the board. You've got to get them looking down the arrow at the end of the arrow, shutting one eye, and then aiming the arrow on the board. Does that make sense? It sounds really, really silly, but loads of kids will just stare at the board, not looking at the arrow. So you need to look down the end of the arrow and then aim on the board. If the children are really struggling still and they're way off, so a kid's like this, he's shut his eye, but he's like this, all right? What can you do? Rather than just let him shoot and miss and then he's gonna be really upset, what can you do to help that child? Okay, yeah, you can just guide his bow. So you can say, wait there, Ben, let me help you. He's here at full pull, and you can just guide his hand a little bit and help them with their shot. Okay, when they're really little, yes, you can get down with them. You can help them load the bow. Okay, you may just hold the bow with them the whole time and help guide their bow. So then all they're thinking about is pulling the string back, and you can help them with the accuracy. The aim, like anything, if we're playing football, the aim is every kid wants to get into a football game. If you do an archery session and not every single child hits the board at least once, there's a high chance that individual is going to be upset. And there's no reason why every child can't hit the board. Whatever your adaptation is, whether you're helping them, whether we bring the target closer, whatever we are doing to adapt it, we should aim to have every single child hitting the board. Does that make sense? They're not going to run home and go, Mum, I did archery. And Mum goes, was it fun? Yeah, I hit the floor twice. They want to go home and say, I've hit the board, I got gold, I got this. Okay, and it's our job to help them do that.
If you got this far, thanks for watching. I hope the video was of use. If you want to keep up to date, we're going to be posting lots on our YouTube channel moving forward. So make sure you subscribe. All of our socials will be down in the description below. And if there's anything specifically you want to see in the coaching sector, please put it in the comments and we'll be sure to make a video.